Ever feel like you're staring down a goal? Maybe it's finally getting that project off the ground or diving into a new subject you've been meaning to explore.
Oh, definitely. Or prepping for a critical presentation, maybe.
Yeah.
And there's just this unseen resistance.
Exactly. It's not like you lack the smarts and you're not exactly lazy. It's this fundamental drag, holding you back from even starting.
It's that incredibly frustrating spot where the path ahead seems clear. You know you're capable, but taking that first step feels like trying to move mountains.
Right. You're just stuck in place while time just keeps slipping away.
Yeah, and it feels awful.
But what if that invisible force isn't some, inherent flaw? What if it's actually a principle we can understand and leverage?
We've been looking at some really compelling ideas around this, particularly thinking inspired by Napoleon Hill, actually.
Right. Suggesting a powerful shift in perspective, the ability to truly compel yourself to action, even when that initial spark of enthusiasm is, missing.
Think about the possibilities for a moment, How much progress might you be leaving on the table simply because of this inertia?
Yeah, what could you realistically achieve if that barrier just vanished?
That's really what we're digging into today. How to dismantle that resistance and build consistent momentum forward.
Okay, so let's get straight to a core idea then. One of the most potent insights revolves around the dynamic between taking action and feeling motivated.
Right, and it completely flips the way most people think about it, doesn't it?
Totally. The common wisdom is you need to feel motivated first.
You wait for that jolt of inspiration, that surge of energy to kick in. But the truly effective approach, as thinkers like Hill really highlighted, is that it often works in reverse.
Precisely. Action isn't just the outcome of motivation. Sometimes it's the ignition point.
Yeah, the very act of starting, of engaging physically with the task, is what often sparks that feeling of motivation.
Consider how many times you've begun something feeling totally uninspired, and then as you get involved, your energy picks up, your focus sharpens.
It's like your brain actually rewards movement.
It seems like it.
It's like striking a match. You don't wait for the flame to appear. You have to create the friction first. And it's those who grasp this fundamental principle who tend to be significantly more productive.
They don't get stuck in analysis paralysis waiting for the muse to arrive.
No, they just initiate. They start.
And it's through that initial engagement that clarity often emerges, right?
Exactly. You take that first step, maybe feeling unsure, and suddenly the next steps become clearer.
Opportunities you hadn't even considered might reveal themselves. Insights click into place that wouldn't have surfaced through just thinking about it.
Think about someone, let's call him Alex. He's brimming with ideas, meticulously plans every detail, but constantly hesitates to begin, always waiting for that perfect wave of inspiration.
We all know an Alex. Maybe we are Alex sometimes.
Right. The crucial insight here is that confidence isn't a prerequisite for action. It's often a result of it.
You don't just think your way to achievement, you act your way there.
You act your way there. History gives us some great examples. Look at Thomas Edison.
Edison, okay.
He didn't just stumble upon the light bulb design through some sudden flash of motivation, did he?
No, it was famously a lot of trial and error.
Relentless experimentation, countless attempts, each action providing essential data that ultimately led to his breakthrough.
Okay, that makes sense. Action giving feedback.
Or consider Henry Ford. He didn't wait for all the roads and gas stations to be built before he started making cars.
Good point. He acted on his vision, started manufacturing.
And in doing so, he fundamentally reshaped transportation and industry. These were individuals who acted despite uncertainty, not waiting for everything to be perfect.
And that act of interacting with reality, physically engaging with the task, it delivers tangible feedback. Something abstract thought just can't match.
You see what works, what doesn't, and you adjust. It chips away at the self-doubt that just thrives when you're doing nothing.
Yeah, inaction feeds doubt.
Totally. That initial push is almost always the most challenging part. But once you overcome that starting friction, momentum kind of takes over.
It's like getting a heavy flywheel spinning, maybe. The first push needs the most effort.
Exactly. But once it's in motion, it becomes easier to sustain. The mind seems to reward that initial effort with more clarity and a stronger sense of purpose.
You could think of a salesperson maybe who dreads making that first cold call of the day.
Oh yeah, the worst.
But once they force themselves to make that call, the next ones often feel less intimidating, right?
And with each interaction, their confidence tends to grow. They didn't wait to feel confident.
No, they acted and confidence followed.
And this isn't just for sales. Whether you're an entrepreneur launching something new, a writer facing a blank page, or a speaker prepping for a talk.
Right. Tangible progress comes from acting despite not feeling perfectly ready.
The path forward isn't lit up by motivation waiting to appear. It's forged by consistent action. Waiting really becomes the main obstacle to progress.
Okay, absolutely. So we've established the fundamental power of just starting, of initiating action. But what often stops us, what prevents us from taking that crucial first step?
Yeah, good question. More often than not, I think it boils down to the pervasive influence of fear and doubt.
Fear, the silent saboteur.
Totally. It's whispering those what ifs. What if I fail spectacularly? What if I look stupid? What if people judge me?
It plants these seeds of hesitation that can truly paralyze us.
But it's so critical to recognize that fear is often an illusionist. It exaggerates the potential negative outcomes way out of proportion.
That's true. The vast majority of those catastrophic scenarios we cook up in our heads rarely, if ever, actually happen.
And even when we do hit setbacks, those failures aren't the end of the story, are they?
No, not at all. They're more like a comma, maybe. A pause, a crucial point for learning and recalibrating.
Every single person who has achieved something significant has navigated failure. Lots of it, usually.
The defining difference is that they kept going, they persisted.
That they didn't allow that fear to dictate their future. And that initial step, like we said, it's the hardest, but it's also the pivot point. It separates achievers from dreamers.
And here's a key insight about fear, right? It actually shrinks when you move towards it.
Yes, it thrives in the unknown, in our hesitation. The longer we delay, the bigger and scarier it seems.
But the moment you commit to action, even a small action, that grip starts to loosen.
Courage isn't the absence of fear, is it? It's the conscious decision to act despite feeling afraid.
Right. It's acknowledging the fear and saying, okay, you're here, but I'm moving anyway.
It can be really helpful to actually dissect your fears.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, okay, what is the absolute worst thing that could realistically happen here?
And then honestly assess your ability to handle it.
Exactly. And the answer is almost always that you possess far more resilience than you give yourself credit for.
Humans are tough.
Fear really feeds on procrastination, doesn't it? Oh, big time. Procrastination is its best friend. The more you put something off, the more your mind blows up the potential negative consequences until they feel insurmountable.
Which is why immediate action is such a potent antidote.
It's the direct countermeasure. Even tiny incremental steps can start to dissolve fear's power.
It's like that imposing wall we mentioned earlier. From far away, it looks impossible.
But as you walk closer, you start seeing cracks, maybe some footholds, ways around it. And when you actually start trying to climb it, you often realize it wasn't as impossible as it first seemed.
There's that story about Edwin C. Barnes, isn't there? The guy who desperately wanted to work with Thomas Edison.
Yeah, great example. He had no money, no connections, no clear plan, really.
He could easily have been paralyzed by fear, by the sheer unlikelihood of it all.
But he took action. He just went. He traveled to Edison's lab, got a low-level job initially.
But he kept his eye on the prize, stayed focused.
And years later, he saw an opportunity with the Ediphone, seized it, and eventually became a key partner in Edison's whole operation.
It just shows how taking action, even when things look daunting, can dismantle fear.
So the takeaway is pretty clear. Face your fears head on, break down your goals into manageable pieces, and take action, even when you feel that fear.
Because fear only has the power you give it.
Exactly. Refusing to try because of fear. That's often the biggest enemy of progress. The choice to act, despite the fear, really shapes your life's trajectory.
Okay, so action is key. Fear is a major blocker. But what about that other common culprit? The one that whispers later, procrastination.
Ah, yes. The siren song of, I'll start tomorrow. How much potential, how much time has been lost to that phrase?
So much. It seems harmless, but it adds up, doesn't it? That lost time is significant.
And the fundamental truth we have to accept is that the mythical perfect moment we're often waiting for, it just doesn't exist.
Right. Waiting for conditions to be ideal is usually just waiting.
Accepting that is a first step toward getting back control. Procrastination is incredibly sneaky too. How? Well, it often disguises itself as diligent preparation. Oh, I just need to do a little more research.
Or as perfectionism, I need to get this absolutely right before I even start.
Or even just needing the right mood or optimal conditions. But the longer you wait, the more entrenched that habit of inaction becomes.
And the harder it is to break free. It's like digging yourself into a hole.
It really is a self-perpetuating cycle. That's why immediate, even imperfect action is so much more valuable than flawless intentions that never actually happen.
Imperfect action beats perfect inaction every time.
Every single time.
Yeah.
A really practical tool here is something like the 5-minute rule, or sometimes people call it the 2-minute rule.
Okay, how does that work?
The idea is simple. Just commit to working on that task you're avoiding for a tiny amount of time, maybe just 5 minutes, or even 2.
Just get started, basically.
Exactly. You'll often find that once you actually begin, the momentum just carries you forward. You work longer than you intended.
Because starting is usually the hardest part, right? Overcoming that initial inertia.
Always. And in today's world, with distractions everywhere, building discipline around this is critical. You need to actively manage your environment, not let it manage you.
Setting clear deadlines helps too, doesn't it? And breaking down those big, scary projects into smaller steps.
Absolutely essential. It makes the whole thing feel less overwhelming and gives you those little wins along the way as you tick off the smaller tasks.
And we need to remember that consistency beats intensity, often.
Oh, for sure. Small, regular efforts, day after day, compound over time. They yield much bigger results than, say, pulling an all-nighter once in a blue moon.
It's like compound interest for your goals. Those small daily actions really add up.
Accountability is another powerful ally here. Tell someone your goals. Track your progress. Write things down.
Making it real, externalizing it, creates a sense of responsibility.
It makes it harder to just let it slide. Ultimately, the difference between people who achieve their goals and those who fall short often isn't talent or resources. It's just that ability to take consistent action, regardless of how they feel.
And time, as you said, it's non-renewable. Every moment spent waiting is gone forever.
It's lost. So the call to action is clear. Stop waiting. Stop over-planning to the point of paralysis.
Take the first step, today, even if it's small.
Action beats inaction. Always. Now, okay, this leads us nicely into what fuels that consistent action. Self-discipline.
Self-discipline. It gets a bad rap sometimes, doesn't it? Sounds like restriction, maybe deprivation.
It really does. But it's better to think of it as training yourself to win. It's a commitment to excellence, to perseverance. It's about believing you can push through.
Okay, training yourself to win. I like that framing.
Every time you honor a commitment you've made to yourself, no matter how small, getting up when the alarm goes off, doing the workout, making the call, you build self-trust.
And that self-trust is the foundation for confidence, isn't it? And for sustained success, you're showing yourself you can count on yourself.
Exactly. Cultivating discipline isn't about making yourself miserable. It's about reinforcing the habits that lead to positive outcomes, that lead to victory.
And pushing through discomfort, even minor discomfort, actually rewires your brain over time.
It seems to, yes. It helps you embrace challenge. What feels hard at first gradually becomes easier, more manageable, with consistent practice.
You build resilience that way, mental toughness.
And those tasks that once felt daunting can become almost automatic, second nature. This is where discipline is so different from motivation, which can be so fickle.
Right. Motivation comes and goes. It depends on your mood, your energy levels.
But discipline is that steady anchor. It keeps you moving forward, even when enthusiasm fades. You don't wait to feel like it.
You act despite how you feel.
Yes. Whether it's getting up early, focusing on deep work when you'd rather scroll, or facing a difficult conversation. That ability to act without needing positive feelings first is huge.
It really separates the successful from the stagnant, doesn't it?
It really does. Success often hinges on that quiet consistency. Just showing up, doing the work, especially when it's hard and nobody's watching.
It's often that refusal to quit, more than just raw talent, that gets people to their goals.
Absolutely. And like a muscle, discipline gets stronger the more you exercise it. Start small. Pick one thing.
Build that personal integrity, that trust in your own follow-through.
Because the biggest rewards often come to those who keep going, long after the initial excitement wears off. Discipline is endurance.
So ultimately, self-discipline is the bridge between your goals and actually achieving them.
It's the master key to unlocking your potential. And it's really the highest form of self-respect, isn't it?
Yeah.
To do what you said you would do for yourself.
That's a powerful way to put it. Okay, but the path isn't always smooth sailing, even with discipline. Setbacks happen, cane happens. How do we deal with that?
Pain. Emotional, physical, psychological. It's unavoidable, right? It's part of being human. But the key thing is how you choose to respond.
You can let it break you, or you can let it build you.
Exactly. That choice determines your trajectory. Growth isn't automatic when pain hits, but the choice of how to respond is available. You can become bitter, or you can become more resilient, more compassionate.
Personal growth often comes directly from discomfort, doesn't it?
Very often. Pain can be a powerful catalyst. It forces us to evolve, to push past our comfort zones, to shake off complacency. The hardest times often teach the most valuable lessons.
Everyone who's achieved anything significant has faced rejection, loss, failure.
For sure. The difference isn't that they avoided pain. It's that they refused to let it stop them. They actually used it.
Used it as fuel.
As fuel to propel them forward. So when you get knocked down, the key is to get back up, maybe with even more determination because of the experience.
Because genuine growth often comes right from that struggle. Discomfort can be the birthplace of transformation.
It really can. It's in those tough moments we often discover our inner strength, our resilience.
While our instinct might be to run from pain,
The wise understand it can actually be an ally. It pushes you forward when comfort would just lead to stagnation. Embracing the hard times can give you an edge.
so reframing pain not as the end of the road, but maybe the detour, or even a new beginning.
Yes, or as a stern but ultimately helpful guide. And consciously deciding to harness that raw energy of pain can push you beyond what you thought your limits were. It can make you unstoppable.
You see this in history, right? Figures who turned immense personal struggles into public power, into positive impact.
Absolutely. And that same capacity exists within you, within all of us. We're capable of far more than we realize, especially if we're willing to embrace the struggle, to walk through the fire sometimes.
So when challenges come, stand tall. Embrace the pain even. Use it as fuel.
Pain, when you understand it and use it right, isn't the enemy. It's a transformative teacher. Now, to navigate all this, effectively the action, the fear, the discipline, the pain, you need direction. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Which brings us to the critical role of clear goals.
Absolutely. The classic question. If you don't know where you're going, how will you know if you've arrived?
A life without goals is like a ship without a rudder, just drifting.
Clear goals give you that direction, that purpose. They act as your North Star in a world that's constantly trying to pull you in a million different directions.
And vague hopes aren't enough, are they? I want to be successful isn't really a goal.
Not a useful one, no.
Yeah.
Goals need to be precise, specific, measurable. Ask yourself, what exactly do I want? By when? How will I know I'm making progress?
That clarity makes planning so much easier.
And it's crucial to break down those big overarching goals into smaller, manageable, actionable steps.
Right. Makes the vision less daunting, more approachable, and helps build momentum as you tick things off.
But remember, goals on their own are just wishes.
Yeah.
Consistent daily action is what turns them into reality.
Consistency is the magic ingredient again. It compounds. Successful people are often just the ones who show up and do the work day in, day out.
A goal without a plan is just a wish. You need that roadmap. And writing your goals down, that's huge.
Why is writing them down so important?
It makes them more concrete. It reinforces your commitment, increases clarity. Then break those written goals down further. Monthly, weekly, daily tasks.
Keeps you on track. Helps fight procrastination.
And resist the siren call of perfectionism. It's the enemy of progress. Focus on making progress. Learn from mistakes. Adjust your course. Growth comes from doing, not just observing.
Accountability matters here too, right? To yourself, maybe to others.
Definitely. Track your progress. Be honest about what's working and what's not.
Yeah.
And celebrate the small wins.
Yeah, those little victories are proof you're moving forward. Keeps motivation up.
So goals provide clarity, but consistent action makes them real. Most people fail because they don't act consistently, not because they lack ability. Perseverance, disciplined execution that leads to success. Define your goals, make a plan, act daily.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Define, plan, act. Now, all of this action, fear, discipline, goals, it all rests on one fundamental thing, doesn't it?
It really does. Your mindset.
Mindset, it's the foundation for everything. The lens through which you see the world meet challenges.
Absolutely. A weak mindset is like building a house on sand. Easily shaken,
Yeah.
but a strong, resilient one. That's like an unshakable fortress. It thrives in adversity.
Because every challenge holds an opportunity for growth, right? But only if your mindset allows you to see it.
Exactly. Life will test you. There will be setbacks. A fragile mindset sees these as reasons to give up. A strong mindset reframes them as lessons, invaluable lessons.
Failure is part of the journey. It educates. It doesn't have to break you. Winners embrace it, learn from it, come back stronger.
And your thoughts shape your reality. That internal narrative matters so much. Negative self-talk leads to negative outcomes, a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Whereas believing you can overcome challenges actually unlocks your potential to do so.
That idea of a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities aren't fixed, that you can develop them through effort and learning is incredibly powerful. People with this mindset welcome challenges. They see them as chances to get better.
So how do you strengthen your mindset? It's not passive, right?
No, it requires consistent, conscious effort. Nourish it with positive influences. Surround yourself with uplifting people, consume inspiring content, and be ruthless about cutting out negativity.
Toxic people, disempowering messages.
Got to protect your internal environment. That inner dialogue is crucial. What are you telling yourself all day?
Success isn't just about talent or luck then. It's often about the mindset to just keep going when things get tough.
Lasting success belongs to those who refuse to quit, who keep striving despite obstacles, despite doubts, who get back up every single time they fall.
So cultivating a mindset that never surrenders, that turns challenges into stepping stones, failure into feedback.
With that kind of mental fortitude, you can conquer almost anything. Mindset is everything. Train it, protect it, strengthen it. It will transform your life. Now, closely related to mindset is who you surround yourself with.
The environment factor. The old saying, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
There's a lot of truth in that. Your inner circle has a profound influence. Surround yourself with positive, driven people. You tend to adopt similar traits. They push you. Excellence becomes the norm.
And the opposite is true too, right? Negativity, excuses, victim mentality.
It's contagious. It can drag you down, limit your ambition, kill your progress. Your environment, the people in it, they really do reflect and predict your future to a large extent.
If you hang around action takers and problem solvers,
You'll start embodying those characteristics yourself.
Right.
Energy is contagious. Every interaction leaves an imprint. Choose your associates wisely, intentionally.
seek out people who embody the values you admire, who've achieved what you aspire to. Elevate your circle.
And sometimes that means making hard choices, distancing yourself, or even cutting ties with relationships that consistently drain your energy or hold you back.
That can be tough, but necessary for growth sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And actively seek out mentors, people who've already walked the path you're on. Their wisdom, their guidance, their accountability, it's invaluable.
Build those mutually supportive relationships, people who challenge you but also cheer you on.
Ultimately, your success is profoundly influenced by the company you keep. A driven inner circle fosters growth. Negativity stuns ambition. Audit your relationships. Eliminate the toxic. Cultivate the uplifting. Elevate your relationships. Elevate your life.
Okay, powerful stuff. So we have action, mindset, goals, discipline, environment. To make all this work optimally, we need to manage our most precious asset, don't we?
Our time. Absolutely. It's the one resource you can never get back. It's finite, irreplaceable.
How you invest it directly impacts your quality of life, your fulfillment, everything.
And we need to be clear about the difference between being busy and being truly productive. Lots of people are busy running around, but not making meaningful progress.
True productivity is focusing on the high-impact stuff, the things that really move the needle towards your goals.
Which means prioritization is key. Learning to distinguish urgent tasks from important ones.
Important tasks contribute to long-term goals, but they often don't scream for attention like the urgent stuff does.
Exactly. So identify your MITs, your most important tasks, and tackle those first each day before the chaos descends.
And the myth of multitasking. We should probably bust that one.
Oh, definitely. It's usually just rapid task switching, right? Which comes with a cognitive cost. Reduced focus, more errors, less efficiency overall.
So single tasking is better. Focus blocks of time.
Generally, yes. Dedicate focused time blocks. And batching similar tasks can help too, like doing all your emails at once or making all your calls together. Minimizes context switching.
Schedule those important tasks, like appointments, you mean. Block them out in the calendar.
Yes. And then fiercely protect that time. Treat it as sacred.
Which means learning to say no.
The power of no. Saying no to distractions, to commitments that don't align with your priorities. Every time you say yes to something less important, you're implicitly saying no to something that probably matters more.
And time management isn't a one-and-done thing, is it? It's an ongoing skill.
Requires regular review and adjustment. Look at how you're actually spending your time. Where can you improve? Delegate. Streamline. Eliminate.
Mastering time really is mastering life then.
Yeah.
Making conscious choices aligned with what truly matters.
Taking control of your agenda for work, yes, but also for rest, relationships, learning, rejuvenation. Consistently applying these simple principles separates the achievers from those always feeling crushed by the clock.
Take control of your minutes to take control of your destiny. Love that.
So there you have it. A pretty deep dive into some incredibly powerful principles for compelling yourself to consistent action.
Yeah, and these aren't just, abstract ideas. They are practical, actionable strategies, things you can actually implement to transform your results, maybe even your whole life.
And the key thing to remember is that the power to change, the power to act, it resides within you now, not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect.
It's about creating that moment yourself, through your own initiative and commitment.
So we're really curious to hear from you listening. Which of these principles resonated most strongly with you today?
And maybe more importantly, what's one specific small action you're committing to taking, starting today?
Let us know in the comments. If you're ready to commit, type, "I will take action."
Or maybe, "My journey starts now," or even just "watch till the end." We'll be down there in the comments, engaging, giving hearts, acknowledging your commitment.
Let's build a community of action takers. And if you found this valuable, please hit that like button. It really helps more people discover these ideas.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our future deep dives into success, mindset, and getting things done.
Thank you so much for investing your valuable time with us today.
Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take that step today. Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, and keep taking action.